Welcome to the panel. I'm your host, Lovedale, and today's episode is titled Things I Wish I Knew About Money. On the panel today, we have Sharleen Chance, who's an entrepreneur. We also have Tony Chance, who's also an entrepreneur. And we have financial educator, Darrell Harper. Darrell, tell me a bit more about yourself.
So I've been working in financial education for over 10 years now. My background's in teaching though. So I used to teach media, filmmaking, video production in the college for 10 years. Loved it for about 8 of those years, but completely fell out of love with it. I felt like, for me personally, the educational system had changed. It was less about results, it was more about the bums on the seats. And for me, I'm very principle-based, so once it moved into that remit of just being focused on keep them, retain them so we can get our money, it was time for me to go. I sacked my boss, and when I say sacked my boss, I sent him a picture of Alan Sugar from The Apprentice and emailed that to him and 600 members of staff, and that's how I left. And that wasn't because of an ego, that was really because I had worked there at the time, I'd worked there for 10 years without a day off sick, for 10 years, and when my grandfather passed away, they told me I couldn't take 2 days off. And then when my cousin passed away, they told me I couldn't attend the funeral. So when that happened, that was my way of exiting the building and just putting a stamp. But I'm glad they did it that way, because if they didn't, I probably would have stayed longer. So sometimes you have these pivotal points in life, and that was one of mine. So for 10 years now, I've kind of focused on teaching people about money and finance.
Amazing. Sharleen, tell us a bit more about yourself.
I wish I'd quit my job like that, but I didn't. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm from South London, Croydon. I come from a law background, so I left uni, went and worked in law. And when it came to the point to decide, am I going to be a solicitor or not, I was like, no, I want to be my own boss. So I started my own business, and I've been kind of ups and down in business. I've done food, retail, tech. I've been homeless. I've kind of now achieved kind of financial freedom, but I've been through the ups and downs of business. I'm a habitual risk taker, believer of passive incomes. But that's it, yeah.
Amazing. And Tony, what about yourself?
Sharleen is my wife and business partner. I used to work in finance, in an investment bank as an accountant for 12 years in the city. Done that for a while, always wanted to be an accountant, so it was like the ideal thing for me, but once I was there, I knew this kind of wasn't for me, because it was just too much of the same old thing every single day. It just wasn't for me. So quit my job in 2013 and to go off and do my own ventures and run my own businesses. Like Sharleen said, we've had some ups and downs, more downs than ups, but now we're on the up. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a journey, and here I am.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into it. So we have a question that came in online. What are practical tips on budgeting and saving money? I'll start with you first, Tony, this time.
Practical tips on budgeting and saving money is to firstly adopt the habit of living below your means. So not spending, just remove that concept of, you earn your salary and you spend your whole salary. And then curating the habit of separating your money so that you're not playing in the same pot for everything. Because, I think that's changed my life, basically, where I used to live from paycheck to paycheck back when I was in the finance job. And then the minute I started to actually reduce my my spending and living below my means and then managing, therefore I had pots for education, pots for investments, pots for my savings for the rainy day fund. It's a game changer. Yeah.
Amazing. Darrell, I'll go to you.
I think Tony said it. For me, as he said, live below your means. Most people, as soon as they make more money, they spend more money. And you have to have a system for success. And Tony's mentioned you have to have a system that's automatic, that doesn't rely on you. So you set up standing orders for money to go in certain places. One of the things I tell people to do, which is annoying and most people won't do it and they'll quit after 3 or 4 days, is you do a spending diary. And you write down every single penny you spend for 30 days. Because people have an idea of what they think they're spending money on. But when you do a spending diary, the first time I did that, I saved myself £472 after 3 days. Because I could see what was going to happen for the rest of the month, so I stopped.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I used to spend £10 a day on lunch. That was just the first part of my lunch. But then I'll go back and eat some more food. So and then I said to myself, I have no shares in any of these organisations, but yet I'm giving them all my money.
It's true.
So when I did the spending diary, it causes you to do a couple of things. It causes you to ask yourself, do I need this or do I want this? Is it a luxury or a necessity? But then you get so annoyed with having to write it down all the time that you don't want to spend the money out anymore. And then there's the other side of things where there's only so much you can cut back on. At some point you're going to have to make more money. Yeah, because you can live below your means, you can live very minimalistic, but at some point, as everything goes up in price, and if your income doesn't go up as well, by default you've got less money. So you have to then start making more.
Yeah, okay. Sharlene.
I think kind of practically is just to start where you are now. I think a lot of people delay kind of saving and investing for when they're wealthy, but actually you don't get wealthy until you start the habit. So at the point kind of the last time Tony and I were broken home, this is when we started getting really good with money. And we had no money, but we started to have a money management system. So we might be earning a month what some people were earning in a day. But we were managing our money and we were really committed, and not just starting where you are now, but even when it goes wrong, like don't give up on it. Because you had a month where you didn't save, don't just stop, start again. So I think kind of having patience with yourself that you're going to undo bad habits and replace them with good habits. So having patience to keep going, but starting now, don't wait to be wealthy to start saving. Yeah.
I always say that the habit is more important than the amount.
Yeah.
So if you can do things to curate the habit, that's actually going to make the difference in your life. The amount is, if you can't manage £10, you never manage £1,000. Yeah, so
I was going to say that as well.
But yeah, so the habit's more important than the amount. So what I've in times started just saving money on a daily basis, so I can build a habit of saving money. Because if you wait for that one day a month and you only get 12 of them a year, you might not build up that habit because you've been doing it wrong for the last 5-10 years.
Right.
So even longer. So,
and also to add to that as well, I think for a lot of people, it's easier to save money when you know where you're going. When you have a strong enough why and a destination, and you say, I'm saving this money for... Because it's funny, when people are about to get married, they're able to save a lot of money in a very short space of time. And as soon as they're married, they forget about that program, what they did. They'll make all the sacrifices they need to make for that one day. But then they won't do that for the rest of their life or for the retirement or anything like that. So it's so important to have a strong goal, because when you have the goal, you have the discipline. And when you've got the discipline, it's easier for you to have the habits. So you have to know where you're going.
So again, I guess it falls back again on the individual to, again, take responsibility for saving. It's up to them adjust their habits and replace those bad habits so they can save and have a purpose to
always have a goal. All of these things, anything to do with money is going to needs to be attached to a goal to work. No one's going to change like a 15-year habit of spending every penny you earned if there's not a reason to do it. I would have never improved my habits if I didn't have like a goal of being financially free.
Things will always come up. There's always something that you need to pay for, or something needs to be.
Okay. So we're hearing so many people are getting into debt these days. What's your take or advice for avoiding debt, for those that are in debt, how to pay it off? Darrell, let's start with you.
First of all, you've got two different types, because you've also got good debt and bad debt. And it goes back to what are your goals. So
can you break down what good debt is and what bad debt is?
So the basic definition would be, for example, if I've got an investment property and that's been rented out and that's providing me with an income, the mortgage alone is a debt, but it provides me with an income at the same time. So that would be considered a good debt. The house that you live in, that you're paying a mortgage on, people will see it as an asset, but it's not. It's a debt. Because you can't be on your asset sheet and the bank's asset sheet at the same time, and if people want to argue with that, don't pay your mortgage for 6 months and you'll find out whose asset it is. So there's two things. Number one, if you want to get a mortgage in the UK right now, that is not going to happen unless you go into debt, because you have to have a track record of going into debt and paying it off. It doesn't have to be loads of debt. It could be as simple as £10 on a credit card, and then you pay it off the next month, because they want to know what your credit score or your debt score is. So if your goal is to get a mortgage, then you're going to need to get into some sort of debt. That's how the economy is set up. Now, if you want to get out of debt, there are ways of doing that don't cost money. Number one, it's doing the budgeting, it's the habits, it's knowing where to cut back, and then overpaying on some of the debts. Don't ever pay minimum payments on anything. If you live by the minimums, you'll die by the minimums. You overpay. You set standing orders up on everything, but never at the minimum. And you have to be prepared to sacrifice. And the thing is, when people hear the word sacrifice, what do you think when you hear that word?
Ooh, it sounds negative, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. But what sacrifice actually means, it means to draw nearer to. So you sacrifice something to draw nearer to something else. So you may have to sacrifice the gym membership, or sacrifice something that you love for a season, because that is money that can go towards paying the debts off a lot sooner. Does that make sense?
Yes, Amazing.
That's basically what I was about to say. That last bit there is that if the goal is strong enough, if the reason, the why is strong enough, then the sacrifice becomes bearable. It actually becomes enjoyable. Because until you've got a really strong reason why you're trying to get out of debt, it's just a nuisance. Like, why am I not watching Sky? Or why am I sitting here just watching channels 1 to 3? But if you've got...
not even 1 to 5.
But you could be online watching the panel and actually learning something. Maybe see what I did there.
But if you've got like a really strong reason why, then it becomes very motivating to actually start making that sacrifice. And then instead of just paying, off the debt with a £50, £100, you might say, do you know what, I'm going to put down £200 this month because I want to get to this goal quicker, and it's actually...
I think that's kind of the thing, is that people need to find winning in small things, like saving an extra £10, paying down an extra £50 on debt. You've got to find a way to feel winning around that. Whereas I think with money, everyone finds the winning, like being a millionaire or having all this money. But if you can find a way to be constantly winning all the time, it does become an enjoyable process.
Well, understand that if you're spending money in one area of your life, you're now stealing it from another area. That's why the goals are so important, because you understand that actually I have this big goal of doing this. If I spend money over here, I'm stalling my progress in achieving this goal over here.
Briefly, I just want to hone into your story, Sharleen and Tony, about the fact that you were homeless. And just talk about how you kind of, practically, how did you kind of come back from that? 'Cause I guess, I mean, I don't know obviously the circumstances around that, but...
Tough times.
I
think we were talking about this earlier on. One of the best things about being at the bottom like that is that you have nothing to lose. And when you're at the bottom, homeless or just whatever, when you're feeling bleak about a situation, that's the best time to make a change. And like I said, I had learned about kind of managing my money, paying off debt years before that, and never done nothing with it. But when you're homeless and you're broke and you're worrying about how you're going to eat, that's a good time to kind of say, okay, let me start managing my money. And we did. And we took our last £70 and we invested it in our current business. But then immediately, the first income from that business, we put away 10%, reinvested, saved 10%. And we were literally doing that with hundreds, not thousands. We weren't even earning thousands of that pound, but we made that commitment and that change at that homeless, time. And it changed the way we managed our money, and it enabled us to grow a business properly from there. It was gradual, though. It was really patience, patience with ourselves. We didn't get it right straight away, but we just made that commitment to a change at that point.
And the system that we followed, the money management system, we had learned it ages
Years
ago
before.
when we was earning way more money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but we didn't apply it then. So it's like, there's all of these ways that you can improve your life and improve your finances out there. But if you don't take the responsibility to do it yourself and take action, then you're not going to benefit from it. So we benefited from it at our lowest point, when really we could have done it at any point.
Like, if you come into my car, it's like open university. Like, you don't come out of my car the same person that you were when you got into it. So like, anytime you're traveling somewhere, you should be listening to something or reading something. You don't, like, if you're going to work on the bus, how do you leave the bus after 10 minutes and be the same person that got on? Do you understand what I mean? You should be filling this with 100%. Some information that's going to help progress you financially or whatever it is, in whatever endeavours you're attempting to achieve. But you should be studying and reading, and that's a life thing that you consistently do, is you continuously grow as an individual. Because if you don't grow, you stagnate, and if you stagnate, after a while you die.
Absolutely.
Were you going to add something?
Well, I was just going to say, you said earlier, like, how do you build up that sort of resilience and stuff? And that's what it is. Whereas, like, other people might be sitting on buses listening to music, me and Tony will be listening to books, podcasts, reading. Like, we were constantly educating ourselves and taking time to be better. And that helped us to kind of know what to do when the time came. If you spend all your time watching TV, doing pointless things, then you can't expect to know this stuff. Again, that's why it always comes back down to goals. It's always going to be a choice. Like, you really have to make the commitment to do things a bit differently and make use of times like being on the bus. Travelling is a great time.
Yeah, we've all got the same time.
I bet we all do the same thing. If I'm driving, I'm listening to some sort of audio. Like, I don't listen to music. I listen to radio sometimes, but not like most of the time, because I'm trying to improve. And if you want to improve, you have to take those. So if you're complaining about things in your life, you got to think, okay, well, what am I doing about it? And how can I be spending my time differently?
People are working this 9-to-5 lifestyle, and do you not understand at some point that you're going to realise at some point that doesn't work. That doesn't work. What are you doing after 5 o'clock is my question. Your 9-to-5 income is to pay bills. Your after 5 income is to build your future. And most people are on Instagram, in your Facebook, Snapchat, and what have you. Not doing anything that's helping to progress their life financially.
Everything we learn is from books. It's like not passed down through my mum and dad. It's like through reading books or going to a seminar on the weekends. And like, so where everyone else is going out, I'm in the seminar Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the whole day, learning about financial education. So
it's not accidental.
Like,
when people learn to do this stuff, us or anyone else, it's not by accident. You don't just wake up one day and be great at managing your money. Like, you really have to put in the work.
So the Panel UK, we have a street team. So we have a team that goes out on the street, around the streets of London, talking to different members of the public, finding out what questions they have, any question at all that they have in life that they would love to pose to the panel. So of course we had a few questions on the subject of money. So let's take a look and see what the public asks. Investment advice. Who wants to take that one?
Easy. Don't risk what you can't afford to lose.
I would say start with where you are. So don't wait until you have a large sum before you consider investing. Because you can do investments at different levels. So don't delay and don't put it off saying, oh, in the future I'll become an investor, I'll start investing. Get in the habit of investing from now. Start separating some money each month and putting it in a pot for investing. 2
things. Number one, understand that when you're investing for the long term. So you need to be thinking at least 5 years plus, if not longer, for it to really compound and grow. And I'd say the other one, which is going to be a side subject, but it is probably the best investment you can make, is in yourself. So a lot of people are looking at investing in this pot of money or this investment or what have you. Yes, you do that, but you also invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And that never stops.
Yeah. That's a nice spin on investments.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Smart.
See what I did there?
Yeah, we caught that. Okay, so another big question is how to make money. What are your tips on multiple streams of income? So you've mentioned a bit about it briefly, but what are your tips on multiple streams of income?
You build them up slowly. Like, they don't have to come at once. Oftentimes people think, like I hear this saying going around, you need 7 streams of income to be a millionaire.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you need to have 7 tomorrow. You know, start with 1, reinvest in the money, create another when you can, keep educating yourself. So yeah, take time, but build them up, definitely, because they are important.
Yeah.
Just, you can go and find these different streams of incomes that you can be making. It's not as complicated as it seems.
Yeah.
So, like, just using free resources to start with. It's always an education process at first, but starting with just free resources on YouTube, and then you will find different things that you can start with creating a stream of income. And just starting where starting where you are, starting small, but understanding, accepting that it's a risk, and therefore you start with what you can afford to lose, like Sharleen said earlier, but you're going to learn through the process.
Yeah.
Like, it's a learning process, and as you learn, then you start off with the education, with the end goal of starting to have an extra stream of income.
Yeah.
But what happens before that is the education.
Yeah.
So you might lose some money first, and then you will eventually have a new stream of income.
And create them, but like you said, with the understanding that that's not going to generate an actual income straight away.
Yeah.
And reinvest. That's the really important thing with like multiple streams of income, not to create it and then start taking extra money straight away. Like really reinvest before you start taking a dividend from them.
So when I started my multiple streams, it was never about making money. It was about the process and the learning, because I understood that the money grows as I grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more you grow as an individual, your income tends to grow as well. So it was the learning more than the money I was interested in, and the money came later. The other thing I would say as well is you have to have multiple income streams if you want to make it financially, in my opinion. You've got to have one income to pay the bills, a second income to build the wealth. But at the same time, you have to, I think, even before you get to that stage, you have to ask yourself, well, what is it that you want out of life?
Yeah.
So for me, there's 3 things. You either want security, comfort, or freedom. Now, if all you want in life is security, you only really need one plan. You need someone to sit down with you, help you with the income that you've got coming in now, and just manage that to the best of your ability and have a job.
Yeah.
Challenge with that is you don't have no job security anymore. Yeah. Then the second thing most people want is comfort.
Yeah.
But then comfort means something different to everyone. That could be 2 holidays a year, 3, 4, 5 holidays, whatever that is. Now, if you want comfort, you definitely need 2 incomes. You need one income to keep you secure, another income to pay for the comforts. But if you want freedom, you need a system. And what happens is a lot of people we hear financial freedom, and everyone likes the sound of it because they hear freedom, freedom, freedom. But you can't say you want freedom and then have a job. Do you understand what I mean? Because that's the wrong vehicle. That's the wrong strategy. So if you want freedom, you have to be able to let go of security so you can have freedom. But you can't have freedom and you're still holding on to your 9-to-5 job. At some point, you have to let go. So it depends. So you have to ask yourself the question, what do you want first? Security, comfort, or freedom? And then be prepared to make, with every choice, there's a consequence. And be prepared to take that consequence.
So you've mentioned something there, obviously, about it can't work with having like a job or a 9-to-5. So what would you say would be the best strategy to, if someone really wanted to kind of move out of that, become an entrepreneur or something like that, what would be the best exit strategy? Do you say just go cold turkey, just go and quit and just go and start trying to make money?
You have all of these hours outside of your working day.
Yeah.
So, from when you finish work, whether it's 5 or 6 o'clock, you've got until 2 a.m. that you could be getting it in, learning and equipping yourself and trying new things that will eventually become this new stream of income.
Yeah.
That can be the alternative job or your business.
Yeah.
But you don't have to leave your job to do that. You can be doing that on the side.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world where you have the internet, you don't literally physically have to be somewhere all the time. But I wouldn't recommend leaving your job until you've got things rolling.
Please don't leave your job, because I did that, and that's tough. That's how you end up homeless, right? Like leaving your job before you have a system that's replaced your income.
Right.
And I think that's the thing. When you're creating multiple streams, the first milestone is to have a stream that replaces your income.
Right.
and then build on from there, then have more streams. But the first milestone should always be to replace your income. But a lot of people want to start this with this kind of huge goal, and everyone looks at this huge goal, whereas really, like, how do you earn £100 through a multiple stream first? Start in small steps, learn to earn £100 from a different income stream, build it up to 1,000 to 10,000 and so on and so forth. Like, it's a process, like with all these other things.
I always say that, well, we've asked a lot of people, is that what's more important to you? Is it money or time? So, and most people would actually say time is more valuable to them. So regardless of whether you're earning 26k, if you was going to have more freedom of time, could you earn less? Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, just because you're earning 26k, if you're going to get your time, which is more valuable to you, then maybe you could earn a passive income that could make 22.
Yes.
You don't necessarily need to replace that income.
When you're creating multiple incomes, it's got to start with why. What do you want? What are your goals? And lead on from there. And really be honest about what you want. I think that's like, I've previously had goals to be a billionaire, which is absolutely ridiculous when I look back at it. But that was the wrong why. And it led me to make poor decisions around creating different income streams. Whereas when I was honest about what I really need and what I want, I could make educated and sensible decisions about how to create multiple streams. So really be honest and clear on how much money you need, what you need it for, and why you're doing it.
Let's take another question from the audience.
If you've got working a 9 to 5 and you're saving money, what's the best thing to invest your money in?
You have to get at least 8% return on your money for it to really work for you. Anything less than that isn't really compounding. And there's only 4 places that I know of that's going to happen. These guys may know some others. Number one, you're investing in funds. So you're investing in the stock market, essentially. Or you're investing in property. Or you're investing into a business that will generate that income. And the last one, I said already, is you invest in yourself. Which means you make yourself more valuable to the marketplace, which means you can now demand more money. But then you also have to understand what your tolerance to risk is. Because depending on what we can say, oh, you invest your money here, but if that's not comfortable for you, and your tolerance to risk is your tolerance, you need to do it essentially depending on what fits you as well, fits your personality. So like initially, I was never into investing in property. I was always into investing in funds. Now it's both, and business. Do you understand what I mean? But so that grew over time as I had a more understanding about how the stock market works and how property worked and different businesses work. So my investment portfolio changed as I grew as an individual. So that's why the first thing is always yourself for me. Because that doesn't cost a lot of money to do that.
No.
That's just time.
I think I have a slightly different I would call those like long-term investments. Those are definitely long-term, and I think everyone has to get there. Like if you want financial freedom, those are important. I think what people miss is the short-term investments, like the flips. And I think Tony and I turned our lives around by taking £70 and investing it in products that we could flip and sell for more money. Very short-term investment. And then I took that money and I flipped it again. And I've kept flipping until I have enough money where I can invest in things like index funds, stocks and shares. But that wasn't a good investment for me at that time because I needed short-term returns. So I think you have to know where you are. You have to know what your tolerance of risk is. That's way higher risk than investing in stocks.
Because there is a broad range, kind of look for the ones that fit you. So where you've already got skills that you can excel in, that you can apply to it, or you might not have the skills, but the learning curve won't be too hard for you. You can pick it up and then apply yourself to it. Then you're more increasing your chances of being successful at it. So that's what that means, Sharleen, that we have experience in selling products. So moving into the type of products that we do now is kind of natural for us to learn how to use the platform that we do it on, but it's already something that we had in us. So therefore, you're reducing your risk. And I would say just starting small. So if you're starting small, then the fear reduces because it's less risky to you. There's less at stake. So if you're only spending £10, £50, whatever it is, whatever's small to you, then it reduces that fear. And then by going through it, it's the best way of learning. I always recommend to anyone, whatever investment you're making or business activity you're taking, start as small as you can because you just want to get going. You want to take some action, and whether it works or not, you'll learn so much from it that you'll have confidence to go on, and if it does work, you'll invest more money, and if not, you've learned, so you know what to do next time, and then you get more. The activity gives you confidence, and so the smaller you start, it kind of removes that from being scared.
Okay, So last question
Aw.
for you, yeah.
Just answer it really slowly.
Yeah.
Stretch it out, yeah. What are your top 3 tips when it comes to money? I'm going to start. Yeah, let's start with Sharleen.
Ladies first.
Yes, ladies
Okay,
first.
so number 1, money is just a tool. Like, most people don't actually want more money. You want something that money gives you.
Yeah.
So get clear on that. Like, don't chase money. When I've chased money, I've made really bad decisions. Like, understand what you want the money for and accept it as the tool, not the thing you're actually chasing. That's number 1. Number 2, start where you are now. But don't wait to be wealthy to start operating and thinking like a wealthy person. Don't wait for the money to come before you do that. I said that earlier. So if you've got an income of £1,000 a month, start investing now. Start saving now. Don't wait to be a millionaire. And number 3, financial freedom doesn't actually require you to be a millionaire. And I realised that, like, as soon as I started being able to travel and be making money while sitting on a beach, I realised that I did that before being I'm not a millionaire now. But that made it sound like I am. But I didn't need to be a millionaire to have 100% time freedom. And I think everyone puts off kind of putting in the work because they think, I'll only be time and money free if I'm a millionaire and I don't have the resolve to do that, so forget it. But actually, if you could earn £3,000 and £2,000 passively, you will be time and money free. So understanding that actually it's not necessarily this huge, massive goal and giving yourself more confidence because of that.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Darrell, let's go.
You know when you wish that you went first?
I took all the good ones.
Yeah. Understand that financial freedom financial freedom isn't free. You have to be prepared to pay the price. And I'd encourage you to pay the price sooner rather than later. Also understand you don't make passive income being passive. You've got to go and work for passive income, and then eventually passive income will start working for you. So essentially what you have is less of passive income, it's more deferred income. It says that you have worked hard for a season and a period of your life for little to no money, and then eventually the hard work that you put in at the front end starts paying off on the back end. So yes, you want passive income, but you have to go and work for that. Understand that language is so important, and the words that we use is so important. And most of us are brought up with a negative association with money. And I meet a lot of people that say, rich people are this or rich people are that. But the moment that you attach that rich people are this to something negative, then you're saying you don't want to be. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with making money. Money is just an amplifier. Good people with money will do good things with it. Bad people with money will do bad things, just on a bigger scale. So what it allows you to do is, as Sharleen said, is choice. It gives you options. And understand that once you know what the goals are, it's a lot easier for you to be disciplined enough to make the money that you need to achieve the goal. Yeah.
Thanks, Darrell. Tony.
And I'll pick up the scraps. Tip number 1 is live beneath your means. So, that's with the income that you already have. Start spending less, and basically living beneath your means so that you have more money for these other things, for savings, for investing with what you've got. That requires sacrifice, but that's the starting place. Start with you, with where you are now. Number 2, I'd say that the habit is more important than the amount. So do what you can to start making the habit of saving money, managing your money. So the more frequently you can do it, the more likely you're going to build the habit. And you've got to just keep on it. Understand that we are not necessarily conditioned to know how to manage money. So we have to work on it. So we have to do it frequently and continuously, just invest that time and be patient in managing our money until we develop the habit and then become normal. And then we'll be great money managers and have financially free and things like that. And then I would say that just remove the excuses. Understand that the setup is the setup, as in it's not great out here, as in not everyone's winning, the scenarios aren't great, we might not all come from money, some people come from money, they've got, been given money by their family, might not be your case, but just understand the setup, but just know that you can still win. So you can still win regardless of the situation, Yeah, and just don't use it as an excuse, because you're only going to debilitate yourself by making excuses that, oh, my money, my financial situation is poor because my family has no money, or I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't, like, just excuses is what's going to defeat ourselves. We can help ourselves to improve our lives.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. The information you've given today has been extremely valuable, so thank you. Thank you to our audience members that asked those fantastic questions as well. So where can we find your information, Tony?
Okay, so I'm personally on Instagram at Mr. T Chance. Also have a podcast called the 0 to 100 Show. So.
Amazing.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook at Happy Sharleen, HAPPISHARLENE, and 0 to 100 Show as well.
Great.
You can
Darrell.
find me on email at darrell@darrellharperimpactme.com or website www.darrellharper.co.uk.
No Instagram now?
I've got Instagram, harper.darrell.
Just maybe you never... yeah, okay.
It's just pictures of me doing whatever I'm doing. None of my bum. No, none of my bum. No. You see pictures of me wrestling bears and stuff like that.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Be sure to follow Darrell. Thank you so much. So we've now come to the end of our show. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the next show. To have your questions answered or to be part of our live audience, head over to www.thepanelshow.co.uk and don't forget to follow us on all of our social platforms at The Panel UK.